Do you want to get to the end of 2024 and be filled with shoulda, coulda, wouldas? Or do you want to look back over 2024 and feel like, yeah, I did that? I lived my life. Peace and love, beautiful people. It is a beautiful day to have a beautiful day, and a beautiful day begins with a beautiful mindset. I am Live So Graceful, and I'm grateful to have you here right now in this very moment, sharing your most valuable asset with me, which is your time, your energy, your attention. And I just want to let you know that I do not take that lightly. Today is January 1st, 2024. It is day one of a new chapter, of a new book, of a new story. And I am feeling excited and invigorated and intentional. And so I wanted to come on and make sure that I share this message with you. I want you to make this new year a you year. Yes, you heard me right. Make this new year a you year. Make this year a year of being so intentional with your life that by the end of the year and by the start of 2025, you look back over the past 12 months of 2024 and you feel accomplished. You feel aligned. You feel satisfied about how you have maximized on this gift that is your life. Because we must remember that life is a gift. It is not promised. It is not guaranteed. And so every moment is an opportunity to live authentically and intentionally, to live on purpose, with purpose, in purpose, on purpose. Okay. So I made a few notes for this video so I can keep myself on track. Got my phone here. And let's go ahead and hop into it, shall we? Okay. So the year of you, the year of you, out of all of the things that you allow yourself to focus on, to prioritize, to put energy and effort into or towards, who and what could ever be more worthy of your time, your energy, and your attention than you? So that brings me to step number one, or tip number one. Prioritize yourself above all else. Prioritize yourself above all else. What does that mean? That means if you are not being good to yourself, you cannot be good to anybody else. If you are not taking care of yourself, you cannot take care of anybody else. If you are not loving yourself, there's no way that you can love anyone else. It is impossible to pour from an empty cup, right? We must fill ourselves so that we can serve others from the overflow. And I know sometimes we feel like doing everything and being everything for other people is like a virtuous thing. It's not. There is nothing virtuous, and there's a word that's escaping me right now, but nothing good comes out of putting yourself last. Okay? Self care is essential. Self care, caring for yourself, should be your number one priority going into this new year. How do you do that? How do you prioritize yourself? Well, there are a few things that you can do. First, set the intention. Before we speak, before we do, we must get clear of our why. And that's what an intention is. The intention is your purpose, your why. So I want to encourage you to get really clear about why self-care, why prioritizing yourself is essential, and why practicing self-care and prioritizing oneself, why that will help you make this new year a you year. Okay? So, prioritize yourself above all else. And the ways that I break that down are: one, self-care. Self-care comes in many forms. Self-care can be like going to bed at a decent time, waking up at a certain time, eating or not eating certain foods. It can look like incorporating body movement into your daily life, gym, yoga, stretching, running, whatever allows you to move the body so that you're able to calm the mind. Meditation, prayer, journaling, um, anything that allows you to be with yourself without distractions. Those are self-care practices. And the more that we practice self-care, the more we are increasing our energy, which is our number one asset. Our most valuable currency is our energy. And so self-care is like making deposits into your wellness, into your health account, right? Rather than making withdrawals and being left in the negative because you haven't been pouring into yourself, I want to encourage you to prioritize you by practicing self-care. Okay, so let's move on to number 2. Saying no. Notice I said that with a smile. Let me say this as someone who in their previous life, which this life, but past chapters, was a people pleaser. Saying no has been one of the most liberating experiences thus far. One thing I will tell you, no is a full sentence. And you can say it with a smile. You could even say, no, thank you. People often get confused when I say no, thank you. They're like, no, but you're smiling. They don't know how to take it. If it's not an absolute yes, it's an absolute no. I will say it's a hell no. But if it's not an absolute yes, why make yourself? Why force yourself? If it's not a yes, it's a no. If it's not an ecstatic yes, it's a no. And no is okay. Okay? Nothing good comes from you over extending yourself. Nothing good comes from you saying yes in situations where you want to say no. And it doesn't mean no, I don't want to. Perhaps it means no, I'm not able to do that right now and still be able to show it for me in the best ways that I need to. No, I'm not able to do that right now because it doesn't align with what's best for me. No, I don't want to do that. No, thank you. You don't even have to explain. And I know a lot of us growing up as children, we weren't able or allowed to say no. So as adults, we have to learn to reparent ourselves and reclaim our voice and be okay with saying no, regardless of who's on the other side. One thing I had to learn is if you really want to know who you're dealing with, tell them no. And whoever you meet on the other side of that no is who you've been dealing with all along. They've just been getting yeses from you. Ooh, that was a lesson I had to learn in 2021. Okay, next is be intentional about showing up for yourself. Okay, again, back to that word of intention, your why. Why is it important for you to show up for yourself? Get clear about that for you. For me, showing up for myself allows me to show up in a way that feels authentic for me. And authenticity is very important to me. I don't want to be who other people think I am. I want to be the embodiment of my truest essence. And I want me showing up in that energy to be enough for whoever and whatever and wherever I go or allow myself to be a part of. And so for me, being intentional about showing up for myself aligns with that. So, again, step number 1 to make this new year a you year, prioritize yourself above all else. Say no and be intentional about showing up for yourself. All right, so that brings us to number 2. Tip number 2, set quarterly goals and check-ins. Okay, I know a lot of us, we go into a new year, new chapter with a list full of resolutions and goals that we want to reach. And then halfway through the year, if not a quarter way through the year, we've already slacked off. And I feel like it's because we're trying to eat the whole plate of food at once rather than taking it in bite-sized pieces, right? That's how we finish a meal, is taking a little bit at a time. So for myself, I've begun to set quarterly goals. So there's 4 quarters in a year. There's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So yesterday, my mom and I, we set our first quarter goals. And in doing this, it just helps me to get clear about how I want to move through the next 3 months, right? Rather than the whole 12 months, just 3 months. Set quarterly goals and check ins. One way that you can set quarterly goals, I'm going to give you 3 ways. One, come up with a theme word for each quarter. So for me, this first quarter of 2024, the word that came to me is clarity. I know that if I allow myself to move with clarity through the first quarter, I am more than likely going to carry that momentum into the rest of the year. So because I've set my theme word as clarity, it helps me to know what my intention is. The theme word is your intention, your why. Because my intention is clarity, it's going to help me get clear about what my goals are for this quarter, as well as coming up with a clear plan of action to reach them. Okay. So after you set your theme word for your quarter, the next step is set 3 goals per quarter. Now, 3 goals, 3 goals per quarter. That could be 1 goal for each month. It could be within these 3 months, I want to achieve these 3 goals, regardless of if it all happens 1 month or 2 months, or it takes the full 3 months. Set 3 goals for yourself and write them down as simply as you can. As simply as you can. What are 3 goals? Don't make it 5 sentences. Make it 1 sentence if you can, so that we can get clear and precise and intentional about what those goals are. After you set your 3 goals for that quarter, add check-ins to your calendar to keep yourself on track. So my camera died. I had to charge it and come back. So I'm just going to pick up where I remember and go from there. Adding check-ins to reach and stay in alignment with your quarterly goals. So what you can do is go into your calendar app on your phone, and let's say on the 15th of each month. So you go to January 15th, you add an event and you just put quarterly goal check-in. And then you repeat that for the next 2 months on your calendar. And that just gives you a halfway mark through each month to check in with yourself so that you can see, okay, how far have I come within the past 2 weeks of this month? And it kind of gives you clarity of what you need to do for the following 2 weeks. And if you do that each month, you'll be more likely to align with and reach your goals because you're holding yourself accountable. Now, for myself, I'm really big on writing things down. If I don't write it down, it didn't happen. So for me, I write things in my planner. I also log things in my phone calendar, and that just helps me not only think about it, but I write it and I see it, and then I put it in my phone and I see it. So the more you repeat the things, the more likely it will become habitual. So our second step to making this new year a you year is to set those quarterly goals and check-ins. Set your quarter theme, um, add your check-ins, and make sure you have those 3 goals per quarter. Now, they say if you plan to fail, you fail to plan. No, they say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Failure to plan really does lead us to failure in a sense, because a plan is an outline of actionable steps to get you to where you're going. It would be like if you want to take a trip somewhere, a road trip you've never been, and you just kind of get out there and wing it. You might end up at your destination, but you'll go through a lot of ups and downs and ins and outs and twists and turns that may have been avoided if you would have found a map or a guide, a plan to get you to your destination. So this is what we're doing to set ourselves up for success. We're creating a plan and outline so that we can create actionable steps towards reaching our goal. And if every day we're just taking one step towards our goal, before you realize it, you'll be a lot closer than when you first began, right? And with today being day one of 2024, it's the perfect day to start. Day one or one day, the choice is yours. All right, so our next tip is life is a gift. Unwrap it daily. What does that mean? To me, that means not getting so caught up in the to-do list, the what I got to do, where I got to be, who people want me to be. It's really unwrapping each moment of each day as a new opportunity to experience and explore life like you never have before. Every day is one of one. Every moment is one of one. So I want to encourage you to really make this new year a you year by unwrapping the gift of life every single day. What are some ways that you can do that? I'm glad you asked. One way that you can do that is to do something each month that you've always wanted to do. One thing a month that you've always wanted to do. Perhaps you want to pick up a new hobby or a skill or a lesson. Perhaps there's a place you want to travel. Perhaps, and traveling doesn't have to be an international or outside of your state destination. It could be maybe it's a city in your state you've never visited. Maybe there's a attraction in your city that you've never been to, a museum, a winery, a golf course, whatever. Do one thing every month that you've always wanted to do. And by the end of the year, you'll realize, wow, I've done 12 new things that I've never done in my life before. And you'll carry that momentum into your next year and the next year and the next year. But if we put off our living for tomorrow, we're not fully living. We're just existing. We're just getting by. And life is meant to be lived fully. It is a journey, not a destination. And so when you invite yourself to play, be ye like children, be like a child again. Don't get so swept up in adulthood that you forget what it's like to be a child. Be childlike, not childish. Okay? Have fun, explore, play, get excited about your life. Like, your mentality becomes your reality. If you look at life like it's a burden, it will certainly feel like one. If you look at life like a blessing, it will certainly feel like one. As you think, so you become. You are writing your story every moment of every day with your thoughts, with your feelings, with your intentions, with your actions. How can you invite yourself to unwrap life today? Some tips that I have for unwrapping life on a daily basis is practice presence. What allows you to be fully present? Because as adults, so much of our attention is consumed by the past or the future that we don't realize the present moment is just slipping through our fingers. The present is a gift, and it is the best gift that you can ever offer to yourself or anyone else. Some ways that you can practice presence include journaling, meditating, practicing yoga, going for a walk in the park or in nature, going to the beach, drawing or painting if that's one of your things. Anything that allows you to be fully immersed in the present moment without distraction, that is going to invite you into the present moment. Even just taking a deep breath. Your breath is your direct connection to life. And most of us are holding our breath or we're barely breathing beyond the chest, and we don't realize that the way that we breathe is the way that we live. You can measure the fullness of your life by the amount of full breaths that you take. Let that sink in. So let's see, we have practicing presence, slowing down and tuning in, meditating, yoga, journal, etc. So I know that these all seem like simple tools. They are simple. Now, just because it's simple doesn't mean that it's easy, right? But doing a little bit every day is going to get you closer to your goals, and it's going to make it more of a habit for you. All the things that we do habitually now are only habits because we've done them so many times, like walking, like talking. Walking and talking were two of the most challenging things that we ever learned how to do in life as babies. And now we do it every day and we don't think about it. So give yourself permission to be like a baby, be like a child, and know that baby steps still move you forward, okay? So I want you to make this new year a you year. Do you want to get to the end of 2024 and be filled with shoulda, coulda, wouldas? Or do you want to look back over 2024 and feel like, yeah, I did that. I lived my life. I know what I choose. And so I just wanted to create this as inspiration for myself and for anyone else who can benefit from these tips. If these tips help you, I would love for you to leave a comment. Let me know which one stood out to you most. If there's a suggestion for something that maybe I didn't add to the list that you would add to the list, leave that as well. And maybe I'll do a part 2 to this video. Other than that, I'm going to leave you with this. Remember that your mentality becomes your reality. Thoughts become things. As you think, so you become. As above, so below. As within, so without. Your inner world is always shaping your outer world. So if there's a change you want to see, that is the change that you need to be. Okay? I love you so much, and I hope you have the most beautiful, wonderful, magnificent day and an even more wonderful, beautiful, and magnificent year. But remember, the year is compiled of each day. So don't think about the year, think about each day, living it to the fullest, maximizing on each moment. And you'll look back and realize, wow, I lived a full life, a full life. I lived a fully fulfilled life. And I think fulfillment comes from fully filling yourself and your cup, which takes us back to that step number 1, prioritize yourself. Okay, I love you. And until next time, y'all, peace and love.